Imagine walking into a bank on Monday morning and discovering that over $70 million has disappeared without a single shot being fired. No broken front door, no dramatic hostage situation, just an empty vault and one impossible question. How did they do it? Police were stunned. Investigators couldn't believe what they found beneath the building. This wasn't just another robbery. It became one of the most intelligent and daring bank heists in history. Today, you're about to hear the unbelievable true story of the Brazil tunnel bank robbery that shocked the entire world. In 2005, the city of Fortaleza, Brazil looked completely normal. People went to work every day and nobody noticed anything unusual happening near one of the country's most secure bank vaults. But just a few streets away, a group of criminals had already started working on a plan that would take months to complete. Instead of buying weapons or preparing for a violent attack, they rented a small house close to the bank. To avoid suspicion, they opened what looked like a normal landscaping business. Trucks arrived carrying soil and equipment. Neighbors believed they were working on gardens and construction projects. Nobody realized they were actually hiding one of the biggest crimes in history. Inside the rented house, the real work had begun. The group secretly started digging a tunnel toward the bank. Every single day, they dug deeper underground. The work was dangerous, exhausting, and extremely risky. If the tunnel collapsed, they could all die. If anyone heard strange noises, the entire operation would be over. But they kept going. The tunnel stretched nearly 78 meters beneath the streets. It wasn't just a hole in the ground. It had wooden supports, electric lights, and even ventilation so they could breathe while working underground for hours. The planning was extraordinary. For almost 3 months, they worked in complete secrecy while the city continued its normal daily life above them. Finally, the tunnel reached directly beneath the central bank vault. The group waited patiently for the perfect weekend when the bank would be closed. When the moment arrived, they carefully broke through the floor of the vault. Inside were millions of Brazilian reais stored in cash. The robbers didn't take everything. Instead, they focused on cash that could be carried quickly without attracting attention. They filled bags with money and moved them through the tunnel one trip after another. By the time they finished, they had stolen around 164.7 million Brazilian reais, worth roughly 70 million US dollars at that time. Without firing a single bullet, they disappeared. When bank employees returned after the weekend, they couldn't believe their eyes. The vault had been emptied. Police immediately launched one of the biggest investigations in Brazilian history. At first, investigators had no idea how the criminals entered such a highly protected vault. There were no signs of a traditional break-in. Then investigators discovered something unbelievable: a hidden tunnel. The discovery shocked the world. Police followed the tunnel all the way back to the rented house where they found tools, construction materials, and evidence proving how carefully the robbery had been planned. The investigation continued for months. Authorities tracked down several members of the criminal group. Some suspects were arrested while others tried to escape. Police managed to recover part of the stolen money, but a large amount was never found. Even today, much of the stolen cash remains missing. If you enjoyed this incredible true story, make sure to subscribe because the next heist we're covering is even more unbelievable.
So now you know exactly how this unbelievable bank robbery happened. And honestly, this story still feels like something straight out of Hollywood movie. But the craziest part is not the amount of money they stole. The craziest part is the patience behind the plan. Think about it. These criminals did not rush. They spent almost 3 months digging a tunnel every single day. They knew that one mistake, one loud noise, or one suspicious neighbor could destroy everything. Yet they continued because every move was carefully planned. Another thing that shocked investigators was how normal everything looked from the outside. The fake landscaping business was the perfect cover. People saw workers carrying dirt and tools every day, and nobody questioned it. Sometimes the smartest plans are hidden behind the most ordinary things. But here's something many people forget. Even though the robbery looked successful at first, it did not end successfully for everyone involved. Investigators followed the evidence. Several suspects were arrested. Part of the stolen money was recovered, and many people connected to the robbery spent years dealing with the consequences. That is why this story is not just about stealing millions of dollars. It is also a lesson that no matter how perfect a crime may seem, escaping justice forever is much harder than committing the crime itself. Every day they took a huge risk hoping their plan would work. In the end, many of them were arrested, but their robbery is still remembered as one of the boldest and smartest bank heist ever attempted. Stories like this remind us that real life can sometimes be even more unbelievable than movies. And that is exactly why millions of people around the world are still fascinated by this case today. If you want more true crime stories, unbelievable heist and real events explained in this style, make sure to subscribe because the next story might be even more shocking than this one. Thanks for watching.